G'day, let me introduce you to the fathers of all 20 F1 drivers for season 2025. Let's kick off this father's cavalcade with Oscar Piastri's dad, Chris. He attended plenty of races in Oscar's first year along with his mates, slightly fewer races in his second year. Very snappy dresser. In particular, his shoes have featured in my Shoes of the Paddock post at a number of races. Loves watching his son improve. His business, HP Tuners, has been a very strong supporter of Oscar over the years. It's one of the reasons that the youngster has been able to make it into Formula One. This is Chris Piastri. Oscar's teammate Lando Norris's father, Adam, is at a number of races a year, and I have to tell you, I love Adam. He makes me laugh. He's worth plenty, and he made his money from running a UK pension fund. Now, of course, he's the man behind Pure Electric Scooters, and I often see drivers in their droves with these scooters zooming up and down the paddock. He's certainly out there, very relaxed dresser, a master networker, passionate, attends probably just shy of half of the races each year, and look, I love the man, and you only have to look at him to see why his son is such a gem. Let's go to the Ferrari drivers now. Lewis Hamilton's father, Anthony, pops up at a number of races each year. In fact, he was recently at the Fiorano test, along with Lewis's mother, Carmen. Both of them took a car with Lewis out to see the fans after he'd done his laps. He was an IT manager, managed his son's career for some 18 years from go-karting through to Formula One, and then in 2010, Lewis parted ways with his father, management-wise, and there are plenty of articles about that acrimonious split, but that was well before my time. Here he is with Sebastian Vettel at Silverstone a couple of years ago, and they had a lovely chat for an extended period of time. Anthony Hamilton. Charles Leclerc's father, Hervé, died in 2017, before he had a chance to witness his son race in Formula One. Hervé was an aspiring driver. In 1983, he competed in one F3 Italy race, and in 1986 competed against F1 driver Jean Alesi in Formula 3 France. Next up, Red Bull drivers. Liam Lawson's dad is Jared. Jared used to promise Liam every year that he would take him to the Singapore Grand Prix, and in the end, Liam admits they never went. Maybe this year, Liam will get his dad along to a race. Probably the Melbourne race would be the best one. It's the closest to his home in New Zealand, and of course it will be Liam's debut in a Red Bull car. I will remind you though at this point that you can get my F1 2025 wall calendar, which features my best picks from 2024, as does this mini coffee table book and this 4kg special edition version with 100 pages at the shop at kimillman.com. They're all custom printed and can be sent to most countries around the world. You probably know this man, Max Verstappen's father, Jos. Actually, Johannes Franciscus Verstappen. He's 52 years of age, somewhat controversial. He's a former Dutch F1 driver, and I did a promo stunt with him and a model in Adelaide, 20 plus years ago now. He spent 8 years in the sport, started in 94 at Benetton, and finished in 03 at Minardi. His best season? His first, where he finished 10th and in the points. Married 3 times, father of 2, grandfather to 2 with a third on the way. That's Max and Kelly's child. Not liked by many, but I get on well with him. In fact, I had a ripper night with him and Mark Webber and Otmar Safnauer at the De La Source Hotel Bar in Spa in 2023. Do you know this British gentleman? He'd be the father of George Russell. This is Stephen. In fact, he's the father of 3. Hails from Kings Lynn, Norfolk in England, where he ran a lucrative beans and peas business, which he eventually sold. He was apparently quite the whiz too when it came to the mechanical side of racing, and followed George very closely throughout his formative years. Stephen will pop up along with his family at a number of races a year, almost always at the Silverstone race. Like a number of drivers here, Kimi Antonelli's father was also involved in motorsport. This is Marco. He used to race sports cars, and I've not seen him at the track yet, but I would hazard a guess he'll pop up this year to support his talented son in his first ever F1 season. This man is one of the most recognisable dads, Lawrence Sheldon Strolovich, or Lawrence Stroll, 65 years of age and the only billionaire dad in the paddock. He's part owner and executive chairman of Aston Martin and the owner of the Aston Martin F1 team. He made a good deal of his money from investments in fashion, including Tommy Hilfiger and Michael Kors. According to Forbes early last year, his net worth was estimated at $3.9 billion US. And he's a collector of vintage Ferraris and owns his own Ferrari dealership in Quebec. Is Fernando Alonso's father a billionaire? No, he's not. Fernando is the son of a mine shaft explosive factory mechanic and an amateur kart driver. This is Jose Luis Alonso. Now, I've only photographed him once in my time. He's probably been to other races, but this was in Monaco, up above the garage, where he was in the company of Fernando's manager, Alberto. But this might give us an idea of what Fernando will look like when he gets on. Let's go to the Alpine drivers. Jack Doohan's dad is probably the most successful motorsport dad in this group. Say hi to 59-year-old Mick Doohan from the Gold Coast, Australia. He won 5 consecutive 500cc world championships, but today he's more than happy to watch his son race from the paddock. Oh, and if you do meet Mick, he has a savage scar on one of his legs from an accident that he told me about, where a driver moved without reason and caused him a nasty off. But that is a pretty dangerous game, that motorcycle racing. Jack Doohan's teammate is Pierre Gasly, and I love his parents. This is Jean-Jacques. He owns a real estate company, also involved in the textile industry, and is a gentleman with a racing past. He used to compete in rallies. In fact, a huge crash ended his career. But I see him at the track occasionally, mainly in Europe, with his delightful wife, Pascale. He lives a couple of hours northwest of Paris and speaks enough English to get by, but if you speak French, you'll thoroughly enjoy his company. I do, and I speak hardly any French. Another French speaker is Laurent Ocon, father of Esteban. He owns a garage in Évreux in France. Of Algerian and Spanish descent, his family originally came from Malaga. He was so certain of his son's ability that he actually sold the family home to fund the travel involved with Esteban's early racing career. And the family then lived out of a caravan for a while. Esteban's teammate this year is Ollie Bearman. Ollie's dad is David, CEO of insurance company Aventum. I first met David in Saudi last year when Ollie got that last-minute call-up to drive for Carlos Sainz after he had appendicitis. I saw Ollie give David a hug on the hospitality suite deck and later approached David and I said, do you happen to be his dad? To which he responded, yes. I then captured Dad's joy post-race with his son. He's a good man, David. Saw him at a handful of races in 2024. Oh, and he took a very late flight to get to Brazil to watch Ollie race when he replaced Kevin Magnussen last year. Now on to the dad that is, without a doubt, the best-dressed father in the paddock, introducing Nobuaki Tsunoda. Nobuaki speaks very little English, but certainly more English than I speak Japanese. But we still understand each other when I congratulate him on his outfits. He loves a scarf, he's classy, style personified, and while he's there to give full support to his son, I have heard Yuki climb up him a bit at the track, but then again, 20-somethings can be a little tough on their parents. One father I know scant about, and that is Isaac Hadj's dad. I happen to know his name is Yassine, and he was Isaac's kart mechanic for a good number of years, much like George Russell's father. On to the Williams drivers now, and Alex Albon's father is Nigel. I've only seen him at the track on a few occasions. One funny event was going back to the Singapore 2022 race, and Alex was coming out of the paddock, and there was a gentleman walking in the way, and I was trying to motion to that person, can you move across, can you move across? And as Alex got closer to me, he said, that's my dad. I quickly apologised and introduced myself, but Nigel did compete in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia in 2007. It was one of his most successful ventures. You probably know this man, Carlos Sainz Sr. He's probably rivaling Mick Doohan as the most successful person in motorsport here, of this group of dads anyway. 62 years of age, a leading rally driver for many years. He won the World Rally Championship in 90 and 92 and finished runner-up 4 times. He also won the grueling Dakar Rally 4 times in 2010, 18, 20 and 24. That's a fair effort. And something you won't know, I actually drove him round the parade lap for one of the Rally Australia events in Perth, going back I'm thinking probably 30 years ago in my Porsche Boxster. Carlos is a terrific fella, much loved in the paddock, and very much a second father to Lando Norris. Another dad I know well and enjoy the company of, and this is Klaus-Dieter Hulkenberg, or Ulkenberg. Cool F1 driver dad, no doubt, was the owner of Hulkenberg Spedition, where Nico trained as a freight forwarding agent before his racing career took off. Dieter pops up at a handful of races each year and is a fine man. And Nico's teammate at Sauber this year is Gabriel Bortoleto. His father, Lincoln Oliveira, CEO and co-owner of the Stock Car Pro Series in Brazil. Now, I haven't spotted Lincoln in the F1 paddock as yet, but I'd hazard a guess and say he will be at a race or two this year to see his son hopefully shine. And I'll throw in one bonus dad, an Argentinian, Anibal Colapinto. Yes, Franco's dad. He sold the family home to fund Franco's F4 championship. He speaks very little English, but I did introduce myself for what it was worth to him when I spotted him first in the Las Vegas paddock and caught up with him again in Abu Dhabi for the final race of the year. You now know a little bit more about this year's drivers' dads. Let there be no doubt, all of them played a very important part in their sons' careers, getting them to Formula One, and I look forward to spotting all of them again in the paddock in 2025. Now, before you go, could you please hit the like button on this video? And for those who are unsubscribed, here's your chance to become part of the Madding crowd on YouTube. Please hit the subscribe button now. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, merchandise, it's all there. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. Of all the fathers, motorsport-wise, would be Mick Doohan's